From the News Channel 5 Network, this is SportsLine.
All right, Nashville, good evening. Welcome to SportsLine. Yours truly, Jon Burton, here on News Channel 5 Plus, with you until the top of the next hour. 615-737-7767 is the number to call. A lot going on in the wild world of sports. A lot has happened since our last Wednesday extravaganza. Of course, North Carolina winning the national championship in basketball. Great game Monday night. You saw it over on News Channel 5 as the Tar Heels beat Gonzaga to win their sixth national championship. Obviously, the Masters getting started tomorrow. You can see third and fourth round coverage all weekend long, Saturday and Sunday over on News Channel 5 as well. And we are getting set for golf's first major. Some potentially big news, though, on the eve of the Masters as it gets ready to tee off tomorrow. Dustin Johnson, the top golfer in the world, the man many figure is the favorite to win the Masters, suffering a lower back injury falling off a staircase on Wednesday today. And according to his agent, he's not 100% sure if he'll be able to tee off and play this weekend in the Masters. So a big potential story there. So Dustin Johnson possibly could have to sit out the Masters or play injured with this lower back injury. So something we'll be keeping our eyes on as the weekend unfolds. So I'm bumping around on Twitter today, as I usually do, have my breakfast, and I come across a few stories that are garnering a lot of interest here in Nashville as it pertains, I should say, to the Tennessee Titans. Now, we're just a couple of weeks away from the NFL draft, so we're getting ready for that. Going to get a lot of draft talk between now and the 27th of April when the draft gets going. But the Seattle Seahawks, their GM, telling a local radio station in Seattle that all the talk about the possibility of trading their all-pro cornerback Richard Sherman is actually a possibility. They are open for business, according to the Seahawks GM. They will take calls, offers for a trade for Richard Sherman. And as I further scrolled through Twitter, a lot of Tennessee Titans fans letting their feelings be known. A lot of them saying adamantly that the Titans should right now go trade for Richard Sherman. One guy even brought up the scenario of Derrick Henry and a mid-round pick for Richard Sherman. So my question to you tonight at 737-7767, talk to you Titans fans. Do you want Richard Sherman? Do you want him in Tennessee? Should Jon Robinson call the Seahawks and offer a trade for Richard Sherman? Couple of things before you answer, and I'm hoping you'll call in and we can talk about it. Couple of things before you answer to consider. When you look at Jon Robinson, the general manager of the Tennessee Titans, and the team that he's built is still in the process of building here, you got to remember he comes from the Bill Belichick tree of team building. And Bill Belichick is very adamant. If you noticed, over the last 15, 16 years, other than Tom Brady, not a lot of mega superstars on his teams. Bill Belichick wants guys who are team first, who put team above themselves, who keep in-house matters in-house, don't really speak out a lot, and it's been pretty successful. Jon Robinson was a scout with the Patriots for a dozen years. He's trying to build in the Bill Belichick mold here with the Titans. He talks about it all the time. We want unselfish, team-first guys that are going to come in and play hard and do what's best for the team. And when you look at Richard Sherman, yeah, he's a talented cornerback. He's arguably still the best cornerback in all of football. A true shutdown corner. The guy's been to Pro Bowls. He's won a Super Bowl. Darn near won another Super Bowl. But Richard Sherman, and you're talking to somebody who's been inside the Titans locker room and kind of has a good feel, I think, for how this team operates and what it's like in there. Do you really want Richard Sherman with all his brashness, with all his outspokenness? Richard Sherman is not afraid to make anything public. This is a guy who threatened a reporter late last season. This is a guy who's, again, wears his emotions on his sleeve. He's a very outspoken guy. Now, you want that swagger. But do you want the potential baggage that comes with Richard Sherman? As it pertains to the Tennessee Titans locker room, I do not believe he is a good fit. So I would have to say no on that. What do you think? 737-7767. Titans fans, do you want Richard Sherman? Should the Titans try and go trade for him? I say no. And another thing you have to consider as well, you know, the Seattle Seahawks are still a darn good football team. They have a young quarterback who's not yet reached his prime in Russell Wilson. Now, they struggled to run the football a little bit last year because they don't have Marshawn Lynch anymore, but they're building on that. This is a team that's a perennial playoff team. They're the favorite pretty much every year to win their division. And they're a legitimate threat to represent the NFC in the Super Bowl pretty much every year. They just won a Super Bowl a few short years ago, and they were a botched call on the goal line away from winning back-to-back Super Bowls. With all that in mind, and Pete Carroll, their head coach's penchant for letting players be themselves. You know, he ran a pretty loose ship at USC. Won some national championships. Runs a pretty loose ship in Seattle. They won a Super Bowl. Got back the next year. Probably should have won it. Why do the Seattle Seahawks want to get rid of Richard Sherman? My opinion is he's probably worn out his welcome there. So do you want a guy who's talented, who has all the skills? He's an all-pro. And if he keeps going at this pace, he may make it to the Hall of Fame. Do you want a guy that the Seattle Seahawks obviously may not want anymore? Maybe he's worn out his welcome. Do you want him coming here and coming into this locker room? When, and you got to remember this, the draft is coming up. And the draft is very, very rich in cornerbacks. They've already gone out, got a couple of guys, Logan Ryan, Jonathan Cyprien. They're rebuilding their secondary. Is Richard Sherman, with the money he makes and with the potential baggage he brings, is he worth it to bring here to Nashville? You got to ask yourself that. But I want to hear from you, 737-7767. Do you want Richard Sherman? Let's go to our first call. We have, who do we have on the line, Courtney? I'm sorry. Thank you. Christopher on line one. Christopher, what's up? You're on SportsLine. Welcome.
Yes, this is concerning Richard Sherman.
Yep.
You had mentioned baggage.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'm looking at the statistics. 4 Pro Bowls.
Mm-hmm.
3 first-team All-Pro.
Mm-hmm.
Defensive Player of the Year.
Mm-hmm.
And the NFL Interception Leader, 2013. Mm-hmm. That's no baggage.
No, but the other stuff, the off-the-field stuff is. And I think
that's emotional stuff. That's you got to learn how to disconnect all that between that and learning how to win. You know, look at basketball. Look at when they go and get players like a LeBron James or people like that. Mm-hmm. Or LeBron brings some people in. Look at when Dallas Cowboys bring in Dez Bryant. You got to think about the winning. I mean, this is not Boy Scout or Cub Scout.
No, but you need good chemistry in the locker room. And Richard Sherman is a guy that I think
is the best chemistry in the locker room, hands down. You want to win, yeah, you want good chemistry, but you bring in a winner. So I think it's a good idea if you can bring in Richard Sherman.
Okay, I appreciate it. Thanks for the call. So Christopher is on board saying yes, he wants Richard Sherman. What do you think? 737-7767. Do you want Richard Sherman? Do you agree with Christopher? Should the Titans try to go after Richard Sherman in a trade? He says it's all about wins, and winning is all that matters. Team chemistry will be there as long as you win. I just look at how the Titans are being built right now and what Jon Robinson wants. He doesn't want headaches. He doesn't want guys that are shooting their mouths off in the locker room, whether it's, talking about game plans or whatever issues he may have with his opponents. I just don't think Jon Robinson wants that type of player. Does he want a skill set? Sure. You heard Christopher say it. This guy's a multi-Pro Bowler, multi-first-team All-Pro. He is a terrific, terrific football player. But in this league and with this team, the Tennessee Titans, in my opinion, it's about fit. And when you look at the draft, again, so many talented cornerbacks available. You look at Marshawn Lattimore of Ohio State. You look at some of these other corners that are coming out. I think you can get your secondary improved. And you're looking at a guy who, Richard Sherman, is probably at his prime. How many more good years are you going to get out of him? and the potential for headaches and baggage, I don't think is worth the trade. And also, what are you giving up? So let's find out what Tony says on line one. What's up, Tony?
Yes, I believe we should get rid of Richard Sherman. We should go after Richard Sherman because, it's all about defense in the NFL. To be honest, to me, that's how I feel. And, defense wins championships. Yes, he's in his prime. We should get him.
Well, that's a good point. I see your point. So you're not worried about any potential distractions with Richard Sherman? Because to me, it seems like he's a guy that brings a lot of baggage. And I just don't think the Titans want that kind of baggage. But so it sounds like you agree with what Christopher said. Hey, it's all about winning. And if this guy can come in and help us win, we'll deal with the baggage.
Exactly.
All right. Thanks for the call. Appreciate it. So we have 2 votes pro Richard Sherman. Christopher and Tony both believe the Titans should go out and get him. What do you think? 737-7767. You can also tweet me at NC5_Jon Burton. And you can hit me up on my Facebook page, which is also NC5_Jon Burton. Want to hear from you tonight. What are your opinions? Richard Sherman, again, talented guy. He's accomplished a lot. He's a Super Bowl winner. What would he bring to the Titans locker room, though, is what you, in my opinion, what you have to ask yourself. And you look at the trade they made last year for DeMarco Murray, a guy that came in, understood his role, fit in nicely with the fabric of that locker room. Because you look at the leaders on this team, and this is a team that sent a lot of guys to the Pro Bowl and one guy that made first-team All-Pro. You look at the leaders on this team, Delaney Walker, Brian Arakpo, Jarrell Casey, Marcus Mariota, all team first guys, all guys that preach cohesion in the locker room. A lot of people say, well, it just doesn't matter as long as you win. Well, to me, it does matter. The best teams have that locker room chemistry. The best teams have that cohesion. The best teams don't have guys that are over here talking about whatever. No, everything's here in-house. And I don't know if Richard Sherman's a fit. But maybe you think he is. 737-7767. Give me a call, and we will discuss it. We're up against our first break, so we will take that now. But, again, Titans fans, do you want Richard Sherman? Give us a call and let us know. You're watching SportsLine on News Channel 5+. Stay with us.